Hi, I'm Toody Cole, bass player from Dead Moon. Beginnings of Dead Moon, it just happened to be a time in Fred Cole's career where he wanted to get back to basic rock and roll after kind of doing some country stuff for a while, and got together with Andrew Loomis, our drummer, just doing covers just to get some gigs under our belts, and then switched to all original material. Put out our first album, Graveyard, in 1988. And then from there, actually through Greg Sage of the Wipers, who was already touring Europe at that particular point, linked up with Hans Kasselou from Music Maniac Records out of Germany, arranged all the people that we needed to meet to start touring, the first time in 1990, and just toured pretty much every year, with a couple of exceptions from 1990 through 2006, and put out 15 to 17 albums. I've lost track, but with Music Maniac, and most of the early ones were all DIY that we did on Tombstone Records. Never wanted to be self-promoting, so that wasn't in our DIY band of tricks, but all the recording and making the master lacquers and setting up all the people who made the covers and the pressing and the masters and all of that. We all did that all ourselves, and the recording, of course. Knowing what's going down. First, Fred would write songs on some of the different albums that we had to get out before we went on tour. There would be a couple of covers thrown in there that would come up just to fill everything out at the time. But basically, we just rehearse either here or at our guitar shop, Tombstone Music, and get the songs down, usually play them live for X amount of months or whatever to kind of get the final version of this, what the song was going to end up being once we all kind of gelled on it. And then we pretty much recorded everything here, upstairs in the room I showed you guys with the master lathe and all the rest of that. And in here is the infamous recording room and the disc cutter, which we cut the masters, or Fred cut the masters. Pretty much we've saved everything. All the original tapes, it's the 8-track that pretty much recorded all the Dead Moon stuff on. These are all master tapes. I mean, all the really old stuff is on this 2-inch wide, which used to be state of the art, and now you go crazy trying to find a machine to even play them on, right, Eric? We definitely wanted to save all this stuff. I mean, never thought anybody else would have any interest in it, and we did. Neither one of us likes to throw anything away. I mean, come on. Use it till the wheels fall off, and then some. But Fred would be in this room, and Andrew and I would be in the adjoining bedroom over here, to where he could play guitar, have a little bit of separation, but basically trying to get a total live sound. He cut a hole in the sheetrock and put a piece of plexiglass in there so he could see through and let us know when he was rolling tape and all the rest of it. And we'd just record everything, and usually 1, 2, 3 takes. For him, hey, it was better to have a few mistakes in there, which there's lots, and to have the spontaneity than to have it, perfect and run into the ground and lifeless. So that was another one of Fred's bucket list dreams, was to eventually, it's not that he's tech savvy, never was, but he's very mechanically minded. Loved to build stuff. So with this one, he had to, pretty much almost from the ground up. It was stored at Rex Recording in the basement, and the story goes that we heard is that years ago it used to be used to cut the jingles and the advertisements and whatnot for the DJs to play up at the original Kissin' Radio. And it was the hot radio station in town when I was a kid growing up, the one that you first heard the Rolling Stones and the Beatles and whoever. It was like the underground AM station of the day. So Fred had hounded him for months and months, probably half a year, to sell it to him. And they go, man, no, it doesn't work. I mean, we have no idea what it's worth, blah, 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 blah. I decided to give it one more stab. His birthday was coming up in August, and I thought, hey, I'll give him a call, maybe a female voice will make a difference. And I asked him about it, and I said, hey, it's been a dream of his. I don't care if it works or not. He won't care either. So, hey, let's, can I give you $200 for it? And they said, yeah, sure. Come on over, we'll help you load it up, help her out. And so I brought it home and whatever, and gave it to him for his birthday. That thing weighs like a pickup truck, okay? It's ridiculous. Finally got it in that extra bedroom, which used to be one of our kids' rooms, got it set up, and it took him, I think, 3 to 4 months to even get a noise out of it, period. Not a good noise, just a noise, okay? It took him another couple of months to actually get something on there that sounded okay. And he finally figured it out. He got it to work, and we recorded the first album on it, and cut the masters and all the rest of it. And at that point, he was hooked. Started using it, letting other bands know they could have a vanity press. So we did a lot of vanity presses on Tombstones and helped a lot of the local bands get their first, mostly 45s out. Well, and you knew Fred. It had to be his way. Okay, end of story. He has these great concept ideas, but how you accomplish them, DIY, okay, is like light years apart. So he wanted to take a shot at a graveyard with a full moon. So we waited till the right time, and you already know, in Portland, okay, actually seeing a full moon at night is not that easy to do. So we got up there, took the shot, and then when the photo came back, that's why there's a crop on the top, was so that the moon could fit in there, because the moon had to fit in there, because it wouldn't on the format of an album cover with what we had. To him, what's on the cover didn't really matter. He always wanted to have, usually, a photo of the band. But some of them are great, some of them are terrible. It's just, that's how that goes. It's a 50-50. It was always a toss-up as who was going to call first to cancel, okay? Either me and Fred or Andrew. It was like, none of us really enjoyed recording. I think Fred enjoyed the mechanics of it, but the actual playing and recording part was kind of like, eh. It was an evil necessity for us. For us, we were a live band. I mean, put us on stage and man, hey, we could kick your butt. Yeah, at some point, Fred had gone through so many bands, it was just insane. And he wanted to, after Kingby played the opening slot at the Paramount with the Ramones, he wanted to get into something that, was faster, harder, whatever, than the kind of the raunchy rhythm and blues kind of stuff they were doing. So he pretty much had it with bass players. Nobody would stick around, and everybody wanted to join the cover bands and make some money and blah, 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 blah. So he said, Toody, I'm just going to teach you how to play bass. That was his original instrument growing up in Vegas. He was a bass player before he was even a lead singer. So I said, yeah, okay. I figured, yeah, okay, this will be like a million other things he's started and not followed through. I didn't think I'd be able to do it, number one. So he just taught me a few basic chords, and luckily punk rock was super basic. And he had just gone back to playing guitar for more than just writing songs. So we were kind of all in the same slot, and he talked Rod Rat, who had never played an instrument before, and always wanted to play drums. That was the original Rats, all three of us. Pretty much complete novices on our instruments, which fit with the punk rock ethic anyway. But it really took Dead Moon for me to find my own stride and to really feel a part of a concrete band. And there was something about the three of us in Dead Moon that was just magnetic, and the electricity was just there right off the get-go. It was kind of like falling in love with the right person. Wise men say only fools. It's incredible, and especially at this particular point. I mean, we're coming up on 20 years from when we technically ended the band. And I mean, to this day, there's still a lot of it's due to you, Eric, with reissuing all the Dead Moon material, which I'm really, really happy that we did, because to me, it's more about making it accessible and affordable for people. It's not about having the original pressings be worth thousands of dollars, you know, and blah, 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 you know, nobody can afford it. It's like, that's not what it's all about to me. So at this point, I mean, it's really amazing that there's still younger kids coming up who are searching out our stuff, have just heard about it, and will come in and ask you what's the first album they should get, and then come back and get a bunch more. And I even know that on the website, you know, I recognize that I've sent stuff to this person before, you know, so it's amazing to me that the interest is still out there, and I'm very, very proud of it. And again, credit 99% of it to Fred's songwriting. His stuff is immortal.
God damn, I hate the blues.
Fred's whole thing, and why everything sounded pretty lo-fi and rough, he wanted to get everything as close to a live sound as you can possibly get. He wanted it stripped down, no real guitar effects. He did use a couple at different times. We never sang with reverb on, for instance, either live or on tape. So a lot of it was just having it as much natural as possible. And so that was kind of the whole idea of that, and to basically recreate what you were doing live, which is not as easy as it sounds, unfortunately. Because that audience feedback isn't there. You know, you're doing it in a dry setting. But as far as wanting to have the band to sound as good as it possibly could, yeah, I'd love it. I remember how our best gigs sound in my head to this day. And to have that equaled over a medium or a streaming medium or anything like that would be amazing. That would be incredible. Because there was always a lot more depth there than ended up on a record after all the dilutions of this, that, and the other thing that a record has to go through to be pressed in the first place, especially back then. This is before anything digital was available. And Fred was an analog kind of guy.